This is Learn English with Ease.
English made powerful, simple, and yours.
Hello, and welcome back to Learn English with Ease. If this is your first time here, this channel is for a very specific kind of learner. People who understand English. You can listen, you can read, you can follow movies and podcasts. But when it's time to speak, something strange happens. Your mind freezes. Your words disappear. And you walk away thinking, what is wrong with me? Today's video is about that exact moment. Because if you've ever felt like you're bad at English, I want you to hear this clearly from the beginning. You're not bad at English. You're just translating in your head.
And before we go any further, let me say this gently. If this sentence already feels personal, if you felt a little, wait, that's me, then you're in the right place. So take 1 second right now and subscribe to this channel. Not because we're perfect, not because we promise magic, but because everything here is built for your brain, not textbooks. All right, let's begin.
Let me start with a situation that might feel uncomfortably familiar. You're in a conversation. Someone asks you a simple question like, "So what do you do?" And instantly your brain panics. Not because you don't know the answer, you do, but because your brain switches into another mode. It goes back to your native language. It forms a sentence there. Then it tries to convert it into English. Word by word. Grammar by grammar. And while this is happening, the conversation keeps moving. And you freeze.
This is the moment most learners misunderstand. They think, I froze because I lack confidence, or I froze because my English isn't good enough. But neuroscience tells us something very different. What's happening is cognitive overload. Your brain is doing too many tasks at the same time. Think about it. You're listening. You're translating, you're checking grammar, you're choosing vocabulary, you're monitoring pronunciation, and on top of that, you're judging yourself emotionally. That's not speaking. That's multitasking under pressure.
Exactly. And here's the key scientific idea you need to understand. The brain cannot produce language fluently when it's in problem-solving mode. Fluent speech doesn't come from thinking harder. It comes from automatic patterns. Native speakers aren't smarter. They're not faster thinkers. Their brains simply don't translate. They retrieve ready-made chunks directly.
This is why you might speak better English when you're alone, or when you're relaxed, or when you're not being judged. Because the moment pressure enters, your brain switches from the language system to the control system. And once that happens, fluency drops. Not because you forgot English, but because your brain is trying to protect you.
This is important, so let's slow down here. Your brain treats speaking a foreign language like a social risk. When you hesitate, when you search for words, your nervous system interprets that as danger. So it activates what psychologists call the monitor. This is the part of your brain that checks, corrects, and evaluates. Great for writing, terrible for real-time speaking.
And here's the painful loop many learners fall into. You translate, then you speak slowly, then you feel embarrassed, then your brain labels English as unsafe, then next time, you freeze even faster. This is not a motivation problem. It's a conditioning problem.
Now, pause for a moment. If you've ever blamed yourself, if you've ever thought, other people can do this, why can't I? I want you to stay with us, because the next part of this conversation might change how you see your English forever. Seriously, stay until the end of this video because once you understand what your brain actually needs, everything shifts.
Let's talk about what fluent speakers do differently. They don't build sentences from scratch. They don't translate ideas. They rely on stored language units. Phrases like, the thing is, let me think, it depends. These aren't filler words. They are processing tools. They give the brain time without triggering panic.
And here's a fascinating detail from psycholinguistics. When your mouth starts moving, even with simple, imperfect language, your brain relaxes. Silence increases anxiety. Sound reduces it. So when learners freeze, the solution is not find the perfect sentence. The solution is keep the channel open.
This is why translating in your head is so dangerous. Translation creates silence. Silence creates fear. Fear shuts down access to language. But when you speak in small, automatic chunks, your nervous system stays calm. And calmness is the real foundation of fluency.
Let me give you a concrete example. Imagine you want to say, I didn't go because I was tired and I had a lot of work. A translating brain tries to build this perfectly before speaking. A fluent brain starts with, yeah, actually, I was just really tired and I had a lot going on. Notice the difference. One waits for perfection, the other moves.
And the beautiful part? Your grammar doesn't get worse. It gets better over time, because the brain learns patterns after safety, not before it. This is how children acquire language. This is how adults regain fluency, not by forcing accuracy, but by removing fear.
So, if you've been studying English for years and still feel stuck, please hear this clearly. Your problem is not effort. Your problem is not intelligence. Your problem is a habit your brain learned, and habits can be unlearned.
In the next part of this conversation, we're going to show you how to break the translation habit in a realistic way, not by thinking in English magically, but by retraining your responses step by step. And we'll also talk about why trying to be perfect is the fastest way to stay silent.
If this is already making sense, if you feel understood instead of judged, that's not an accident. That's what this channel is about. Take a breath. You're not broken. You're just learning the wrong way. And that can change.
Let's continue from something very important we said earlier. Habits can be unlearned. Because right now, many of you are listening and thinking, okay, I understand the problem, but how do I actually stop translating? And this is where most advice online fails you. People say, just think in English. But that's not how the brain works. You can't command a habit to disappear. You have to replace it.
Exactly. The brain doesn't delete patterns. It overwrites them with stronger ones. So instead of asking, how do I stop translating? The real question is, what can I do instead of translating when I feel pressure?
And the answer is simpler and more scientific than you expect. You train default responses, not full sentences, not perfect grammar, but short, safe, automatic responses that your brain can access without effort.
Think of these as psychological anchors. When pressure hits, your brain needs something familiar to grab onto. If it doesn't find anything, it goes back to your native language. So we give it something else.
For example, instead of freezing when someone asks you a question, you train yourself to always start with something like, let me think for a second. That's an interesting question. Yeah, actually. These phrases do three powerful things at the same time. They buy time, they reduce silence, and they signal safety to your nervous system.
And here's the scientific part most people don't talk about. When you start speaking, even with simple phrases, your brain shifts from planning mode to production mode. Once you're in production mode, access to vocabulary improves automatically. This is why words suddenly appear after you start speaking, not before.
So fluency is not something you prepare for and then perform. It's something that emerges while you're already speaking.
Let that sink in for a moment.
Now let's talk about why perfection is such a dangerous goal. Perfection activates the brain's error detection system. Every time you think, is this correct? Your brain slows down. Every time you think, what if I'm wrong? Your confidence drops. And over time, your brain associates English with tension.
This is why many learners say, I know English, but I can't speak naturally. Because natural speech is messy. Native speakers hesitate. They repeat. They restart sentences. They change direction midway, and their brains are completely okay with that.
But learners are taught the opposite. They're taught to speak only when they're sure. So silence becomes the default.
Let's flip that rule. From now on, movement is better than accuracy. Sound is better than silence. A simple sentence is better than a perfect one you never say.
And if you're still watching right now, I want to say this clearly. You're doing the right thing by staying. Because this mindset shift alone can unlock months, even years of progress for you. So stay with us just a little longer, because the final idea is the most important one.
Let's talk about identity. Many learners don't just translate words, they translate themselves. They try to sound smarter, politer, more advanced than they really feel. And that creates distance between who they are and how they speak.
Fluency doesn't come from sounding impressive. It comes from sounding honest, using the language you already own.
So here's a powerful exercise you can start today. Take a simple thought you say naturally in your own language. Don't translate it fully, reduce it. Simplify it. Ask yourself, what's the smallest version of this idea I can say in English?
Not the best version, the smallest safe version.
Because once your brain learns that English is safe at a small level, it allows growth. Confidence grows after safety, never before.
This is why some people suddenly improve without studying more. They didn't learn more English. They removed fear.
And this is what we want for you. Not perfect English, but usable English. English that comes out when you need it.
So if you take one thing from this video, let it be this. You are not bad at English. You were just trained to speak it the wrong way.
And the moment you stop translating, stop judging, and start moving, your fluency begins to wake up.
If this video helped you feel calmer, clearer, or more hopeful, then this channel is for you. Subscribe, stay with us, and keep learning in a way that actually respects how your brain works.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for staying till the end. And remember, fluency is not a talent. It's a habit you're about to rebuild.